Alright, as usual, let's start with parsing rules. Damage done to living constellation, dark matter, and unleashed dark matter is excluded. So keep this in mind when trying to parse. The living constellations are the weird floating squares that are closing black holes and casting arcane barrage at random people. And the dark matter are the shadowy figureheads that are in the other realm and will spawn also upon entering the last phase as well. There is no point multidotting any of those, and try to avoid starfalling and AoEing them down as the damage is not counted. Everything else counts toward Parses, meaning not only Algalon himself, but the collapsing stars as well. Alright, so pull is about to happen, now let's talk about pre-potting. Because of the RP here at the start, there are two options. Obviously, one is to pre-pot, and the other not to pre-pot at all and save the potion for heroism phase, which in most cases is at the beginning shortly after the pull. Therefore, you can't pre-pot and then use pot on heroism as well. If you are going for pre-pot option, note that the very first pull the RP is longer than pulls after, so I would say it's not worth it to pre-pot on the very first pull. Any other pull after wiping is doable to achieve the 99 parse, but do know that you will not get the full duration of the pre-pot because of the RP, but only a shorter duration of the pot. In fact, the highest parse Boomie is actually doing the pre-pot strategy, pre-potting even potion of speed, and you can see the duration is way shorter compared to the other potion mid-fight, just because of the slight RP that's just wasting time and making pre-pot less valuable. In the first top 20 Boomie parses on Algalon, way more are actually using no pre-pot strategy. As you can see, even the second highest parse use potion of speed during heroism shortly after pull, and third rank even use wild magic outside of heroism in the last phase, coupled with light weave tailoring proc for some juicy starfall. I didn't pre-pot and used potion of speed coupled with heroism shortly after pull on my 99 parse skill, as did the majority of druids in top 20. However, I've also tried pre-potting wild magic and using second potion in last phase with other procs 2 resets in a row and got 97 both times. But I wouldn't say it's because I pre-potted, it was mostly because of Starfall hitting too many constellations as well as longer kill times. So all in all, both options should be perfectly viable to achieve the 99, but I'm kinda leaning towards no pre-potting for the future as well. Another thing you might have noticed when browsing logs is different potion usage. Some are using wild magic, some are using potion of speed for either pre-pot or mid-fight. It depends on your gear setup, what are your crit and haste values, and also a bit of personal preference. I'm still using potion of speed during lunar eclipse as I'm geared more towards crit rating, getting closer and closer to crit soft cap. So sitting at only around 200 haste, therefore I prefer quicker Starfire cast times while popping all cooldowns. However, I could imagine someone regularly getting power infusion with high haste, or especially during heroism, while all haste cooldowns are up as well, like hyperspeed accelerators and scale of the Fate's trinket, will most likely benefit more from wild magic than yet another haste. But I would advise sim everything for your gear setup to see what's better for you. Alright, so pull timer is counting down, and I like to be the one who actually pulls the boss and starts the RP with Fairy Fire, as it stays on the boss, so you just save a global cooldown. If you are pre-potting, then do pre-pot before the Fairy Fire. As soon as the boss is targetable, I'm casting Trends, so they are out before the heroism is casted, and following it with Starfall. You have some options on Starfall usage, but I'll talk about it later. Then it's casting both of my dots, Insect Swarm and Moonfire, so you have 4 global cooldowns of instant cast, so you can keep moving while casting and get to your designated position before standing still and proceeding with Eclipse rotation. Don't forget to mouse over the boss if you are using Serenite Bomb and Starfall mouse over macro as I am as well. And also, if I get the lucky early 4-piece tier 8 instant Starfire proc, I'm delaying this first one, waiting for the first lunar eclipse, because popping it right away will not only benefit from lunar eclipse extra damage, but most importantly, this can accidentally proc your solar eclipse instead of lunar as the first one. So I'm doing Fairy Fire as pull to start the RP, Trends, Starfall, Insect Swarm, Moonfire, and proceeding with Eclipse rotation, fishing for lunar eclipse with first few wraths. Hopefully, I also have heroism by the time I reach lunar eclipse. So under the effect of heroism and reaching the first lunar eclipse, this is where I want to pop everything at the same time, meaning potion of speed if I didn't pre-pot, hyperspeed accelerators, and unused trinkets. I'm using simple macro for this that I just pop and start casting Starfire immediately. If you are in luck, hopefully your proc-based trinkets will proc somewhere at this time as well for some heavy Starfire blasting. Another thing, Starfall usage on this boss is a bit tricky and can affect our Parses. Since the collapsing stars are being counted towards Parses together with Algalon, the best possible scenario, while parsing in mind, is standing somewhere in middle and using Starfall on cooldown at a time when there's not too many constellations around to hit just Algalon and the collapsing stars. However, this is close to impossible for majority of guilds, as this will most definitely screw up the star killing management, and most guilds will not allow this to happen. We are supposed to do the direct opposite and should be lucky if we are even allowed to Starfall, oftentimes forced to glyph a focus for shorter range to not hit the collapsing stars. That's why I try to position myself in close range of the boss on the very edge of the map so my Starfall is going to hit mostly Algalon and as little collapsing stars as possible. I've made this probably very complicated cheat on the first look, comparing my 99 kill with the top 10 highest ranking Boomies, but I'll try to explain it. My 99 kill is on the top, below me the 10 highest Boomie Algalon Parses. First column is the total damage for the fight, which is roughly similar for all of us, around 2.5 million. Then the next two columns are the damage done to Algalon by Starfall as direct damage, not the splash damage, and how many % out of the total damage does that represent. The green color represents above average value and the red color is below average. So you can see those guys in green color did more than 150k and the rank 2 druid did even 200k direct damage to Algalon just from Starfall, which is already 8% of the total damage. On my 99 kill, I managed to get only half of that, so 4%. But as you can see, there are druids who did even less, in red color, even at around 50k damage to Algalon, and they are still in top 10. So when we look further, the collapsing stars direct damage from Starfall, it again varies a lot, from druids who did as little as 10k and below 1% total damage to stars, and I was one of them, to druids who did 6.5% total damage with whopping 150k damage done to stars as direct hit, not counting the splash damage yet. So as you can see, there are mainly two strategies, those who are trying to avoid hitting the stars, which are red on the right side columns, and those are usually green on the left columns as they are maximizing the Starfall damage to Algalon. On the other hand, there are those who are allowed to Starfall the stars and are doing maximum damage to them, so are green on the right side columns and usually tend to do low damage by Starfall to Algalon, so are red on the left columns. Well, and then there's the dream being green on both sides, like the rank 1 and rank 10 druid, and that's the ideal scenario to have high damage both on Algalon and the stars at the same time, meaning your Starfall stars weren't hitting much of constellations or dark matter heads. You can see on the furthest right column, their total Starfall damage was more than 14% of total damage, which is almost double to my 8%. So obviously if you want to maximize the DPS output and have the highest chances of getting the 99 parse, then yeah, Starfalling collapsing stars would help, but that's something you have to discuss with your guild. However, even if you are declined to Starfall the stars and allowed to hit only Algalon, have no worries, as you can see, it's definitely possible to get a 99 without hitting the stars. I've got 0.75% damage on stars and was trying to avoid them as much as possible even without the glyph of focus, and still managed, and there's at least 3 other druids in top 10 parses that did the same. If you are not allowed to Starfall at all, however, then it will be a very difficult task to get a 99, probably close to impossible. So squeezing maximum out of your Starfall is one of the ways to rank high. Also note that no damage done to constellations or dark matter heads are counted, so that's probably why my Starfall damage is lower compared to the top 10 druids, as they were soaking a lot of my stars, and this is something I will learn from and have to improve for next resets. So I think the play from here is to either try to Starfall when there are not too many constellations around, try to hit timing before they spawn to hit Algalon with as many stars as possible, or perhaps if it's just not doable because no one is actually kiting them to close the black holes so there's less of them, at least Starfall when they are tanked near Algalon to get the most out of the splash damage from them to hit Algalon. You can also time the Starfall on the transition, before the dark matter ads will spawn on the last phase to get as many single target Algalon star hits as possible, otherwise the dark matter ads will soak a lot of this damage which is not counted. Regarding the first Starfall, you have two options just as I mentioned in other guides. Either do it right on pull after trance, or wait for your trinkets to proc before casting it. I like the first option and explain why in previous guides, not gonna repeat myself, so go check them out, as it's going to be pretty long video already without it. However, both options are perfectly viable achieving 99 parse. There are also a few mechanics you need to pay attention to, as they can hinder your parse or just kill you. First one, Cosmic Smash. Those are the 3 small red circles spawning on random players, and you need to move out of it. Make sure to throw instant cast to always be casting, and try to time it with refreshing your dots for Piece Tier A instant Starfire proc or Starfall. Then there are Collapsing Stars. It's good to pop bar skin to help your healers and make sure you survive this. Pay attention to where are the stars though, not only as you can position to not hit them with Starfall much, but also because they leave the black hole upon dying. Make sure you are nowhere near the star when it's about to die, as you will be ported in other realm right away. Same thing when entering the last phase. Pay attention to your positioning as 4 black holes will spawn in a square shape, so you are not ported in other realm as this means losing DPS on Algalon or you might even die because of the ads. Always know where the black holes are, not to get accidentally ported as this most likely ruin your parses, but because of the Big Bang as well. Pay attention to Big Bang timing and its cast time. I'm usually stutter stepping towards the black hole on my instant cast, so I'm always close to it whenever the Big Bang is about to happen. Also, you don't need to enter right away, I'm pretty comfortable not to only finish my cast, but squeeze in some extra and enter at the very end of the cast time to maximize the DPS. Also make sure to refresh your dots for the last 2 global cooldowns before entering the black hole and move to your designated position while in the realm so you can just stand still and continue blasting when you get out. One more thing, if your cooldowns just came up again, like hyperspeed accelerators, trinkets, starfall or trance, always check if the Big Bang isn't happening in few seconds to decide if you can squeeze the full duration out of any cooldown or not. I'm casting trends for example after Big Bang, and also if my lunar just procced and I have hyperspeed accelerators ready and there's like 2 seconds into Big Bang, I'm either skipping it and wait for another lunar eclipse, or I even plan ahead, stop casting rest just as my solar ended and Big Bang is happening, not to accidentally proc lunar and waste it. However, there are always few factors you can't control unfortunately that might help you further to achieve the 99 or make it more difficult. Just to name few, could be RNG, so you don't have to move a lot because mechanics, RNG when and what procs and if it aligns with other things, if you have to battle res or not, both uptime and value of the spell part of the Demonic Pact, and I feel like this especially true here on Algalon, kill time as well. My 99 and our fastest kill yet last reset was 5 minutes and 11 seconds, and compared to my 97 parse few resets before, there wasn't much of a difference except the kill time. I felt like I was doing almost the same thing. If you look at the top Boomie parses, one thing they have in common is the kill time being always around 4.5 minutes. So yeah, sometimes even if you play perfectly and you have slow kill, the 99 might be gone because of just that. Take a look at my kill compared to one of the top druids. I've spent 11% of the fight under the effect of heroism, while the high parse druid had it more than 15% of the fight. My potion of speed lasted for 4.29% of the fight, while his lasted for 5.86% of the fight. The DPS of my trance was way less even though they did almost exactly the same damage, just because I've spent longer without them because of the kill time. So the rule of thumb is faster kill time equals to better DPS because of the better uptime of heroism, procs and cooldowns. Regarding the glyphs, I'm usually running Insect Swarm, Starfall and Starfire, and I wasn't bothering with Glyph of Focus to limit the Starfall range on purpose, not to hit the stars. I feel like I can play around it and not to hit stars even with Starfire Glyph, which gives higher single target DPS. But yeah, the Glyph of Focus is actually viable as an alternative to Starfire, Since the range is not a crucial factor here, and as well if you are forced to move a lot and clip your Moonfire, then the Starfire loses its value. Both should be viable for achieving the 99 parse, but on paper, and as well as my personal preference, it's Insect Swarm, Starfall and Starfire. I'm also using my default single target spec here that was already showcased in previous guide, such as XT, Razor Scale, Thorium or Ignis. I'm going for the 3 points in Brambles to min-max the single target DPS, as well as the Oaken Frenzy as it can proc here. Unfortunately, it didn't proc for me on the actual 99 kill, but it's proccing quite often on Algalon. Looking again on top Druid Parses unlocks, Oaken Frenzy is used by quite a few as well, one of them even having 4 procs at 11% uptime, which is just crazy. Also don't forget Oaken Frenzy is actually replenishing your mana as well, so you shouldn't run into mana issues. And I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and if you like the content, I would appreciate if you like the video and subscribe. Thank you and good luck!